Hello, and welcome to episode 121 of Flix into 6. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo, with me forever and always, the man, the myth, the merkin, Alessandro Bielsi. Say hello, Al.
Now, I'm Thomas Wayne, or Bruce Wayne's mom, whose name escapes me.
This week's episode, Uncharted, clones, Schwarzenegger's best, and other news and nuggets, all before diving into our flick of the week, Jay and Silent Bob reboot. But first, Al, what are we drinking? That line, though.
You know what? Considering how much I hate him, I was really surprised that Ben Affleck had the best line in the movie.
Yeah.
We are drinking from our beloved... I love how we have, like... What is exactly our Mount Rushmore or Inner Circle Hall of Fame? We got Newburgh, we've got Treehouse, which is this beer, we've got Jack's Abbey.
Yep.
What's it called? The one... Magnify?
Yeah.
Magnify's got to be on there because you love Magnify.
I'm sold with those.
Yeah, I guess that because that's four, right?
Yeah,
that's our Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
that's our Mount Rushmore
so.
of Flix into 6 beers.
Tremendous Mount Rushmore.
It's really good.
What's the one?
Common factor being that they all do. Oh, and the Alchemist, obviously. Sorry, we're erecting a fifth Rushmore head. It's Alchemist, and all of them make great IPAs. That's probably a common factor. Although it's not the only thing we drink from those. It's not the only thing we enjoy from those. But those tend to be some of the most common that they do. But this one is very well known for their IPAs. Treehouse Brewing, which we've done a couple of, and also we have one or two more that we will do eventually when we do like episodes with you and me together. Because I have one or two of them that I only have one of.
Right. We'll
so I couldn't give you one. Yeah. So this is Treehouse. This is Haze, which
it smells so good.
Is Haze their flagship?
So
no,
good.
The blue one, whatever, is probably their flagship one, right?
I have no idea.
I think the blue one is technically, which I don't remember which name that is. My cousin Dan brought me some of those a little less than a year ago. He brings them to me occasionally because him and his family go up to Treehouse like I don't want to say once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks. Because every time I see him, and I see him a few times a year,
he's got some for you.
He brings me a bunch of them to the point where he like I thought it was going to happen once or twice, and then he just like kept doing it every time I saw him. I was like, "Fuck! I really need to reciprocate because now I'm just an asshole." And I really didn't intend for that to happen. But also, you know, I did. He was the first person that I like made an order of beer for. I mean, he paid me for it, but
sure.
You know, he still got to drink like 50 Al's ales, which were delightful.
You got it on
if
the
I
ground
do say
floor.
so myself. But he gave me a bunch of them when we saw him for Memorial Day, because we always have a big party at my house. And my brother got really drunk. And we got to like late in the night, and he's like, "Oh, what beers can I drink in the fridge downstairs?" And his girlfriend was like, "Probably none." And I was like, "That's not for me to decide. What I'll tell you is anything on the shelves is fair game. Anything on the door, do not touch." He goes, "Great." He comes back upstairs 10 minutes later with a beer that was on the door. And it was one of the Treehouse. Thankfully, it was the blue one, which I've had before, whose name is escaping me. You know, I know the orange one is Julius. I know the purple one is Haze. I know green is green, which is super convenient. I always forget which one the blue one is. But the thing is, I didn't see him come up with the beer. It was he was just standing at the counter with an open Treehouse beer in his hand. I was like, "You motherfucker!" And he's like, "What?" I was like,
"It was one rule. There was one rule."
I was very.
I'm sorry, I broke your rule. Giant bat.
I was like, "I told you not to grab any of them off." I was like, "There's like 40 beers on the shelves, and there's like 10 beers on the door, and you grab one off the door." I was like, "You grabbed that." He goes, "I didn't do this." I was like, "Who the fuck else did?" And he's like, I was like, "It's open. It's in your hand." And his girlfriend sitting next to him, like, whispering in his ear, "Yes, you did." She's like, "Just say sorry." And I was like...
She gets it.
Like, honestly, like, I'm not... Like, I'm mad, but thankfully you picked, like, the one of the four that he gave me that I had before. It was like... But now I'm just mad that you're denying it. Like, you're literally caught red-handed. Just be like, "Hey, dude, I fucked up." And it's over. And he's like, "But I didn't do it." I was like, "Who the fuck else did, motherfucker?"
I will say that my friends are respecting the beer quarantine in the mini fridge in my basement. Chris went to go grab a beer yesterday, and he was like, as he opened it up, I was like, anything, and he goes, but the top shelf, I know.
Oh, you know what? That's good.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah. That is a level of consideration that I appreciate. Anyway, back to the beer. We're drinking Treehouse Haze. It's in the purple can. It's a double IPA, 8.2% alcohol by volume. It came in a pint. They're brewed in Massachusetts. And, oh, hey, look, a little story.
Oh.
We're excited that you're holding Treehouse Brewing Company's hop-saturated double IPA Haze. Haze is a soft and dangerously drinkable beer with flavors and aromas of orange juice, fresh peach, and papaya, offset by a gentle bitterness.
Papaya!
It is intensely flavorful, yet well-balanced. Haze is the result of our uncompromising dedication to fresh, progressive, and delightful beer. We hope you enjoy it with laughter, good cheer, and in the company of those you love.
Oh, we are. We nailed it. Cheers.
Virtually?
Cheers. I've been smelling this beer the entire time you've been talking.
I know. I'll say to the audience, I answered, well, technically I called Anthony, but when he clicked on, was the very second I clicked open the beer, and I was like, oh my god, I got punched in the face by the aroma of this beer.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good.
I'm just smelling it obnoxiously.
This one is courtesy of Mr. Midnight Astronomy himself, my neighbor Frank.
Remember when we looked at Saturn in the middle of the night?
In the middle of an episode. Better yet.
Yeah, that's right. We literally paused recording. That was the Cloud Atlas episode, right?
Yeah. How can
we paused the Cloud Atlas
how
episode
fitting that was.
To drunkenly stumble out and admire Jupiter and Saturn
and look to the stars.
I mean, considering the way that movie ends, perfect, right?
Yeah, it was. It was indeed. Our 2-part episode. Oh man!
Yeah, part 1 of our 2-part Cloud Atlas episode. Which, if you haven't heard it, you should.
Yes, this is. I mean, it's a 3 thumbs up beer.
Wow!
Right? I mean, let's be serious. Anything on the Rushmore is 3 thumbs up.
Anything on the Rushmore, I like that. Even Margaritaburg, which was featured in the Cloud Atlas Part 1 episode that we were talking about. That
beer, it wasn't. I don't know what the adjective is. It wasn't bad. It wasn't right.
I've got the adjective. Unique.
Was it whimsical? You like to throw whimsical around.
I do, but I feel like I do so judiciously. No, that was one of the most unique beers I've ever had.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because I don't know if it was good.
No, I
wouldn't say it was bad.
Right. I will say,
like, I wouldn't drink a lot of them.
I do dream about the sour Jessica Porter one. That one was.
Did you turn Jessica, the sour porter, into a Sarah Jessica Parker pun?
I thought that was what they did intentionally.
No, because it's Jessica Sour Porter, not Sour Jessica Porter.
Well, that one is delightful. And frankly, a missed opportunity if they named it what they named it.
It was a delightful beer. It's a shame it was a one-off because I would drink the hell out of that again.
Absolutely. So good. That was like episode 1, wasn't it?
I don't think it was
1.3.
It was amongst the first 5 episodes, yes.
Nice. You know what? Let's dive right into some news and nuggets because I'd like to talk about that for a second. Saw the Instagram post from Ryan Reynolds and I forwarded that to you. Logan's 3 years old.
Yeah,
we've been doing this for 3 years.
You notice how every time we come up to an anniversary, we always forget.
Yeah.
Our 3-year anniversary was sometime in February, and we did not note it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. No, not even close. You know what it is? It's because of the hiatus. And the fact that the episode numbers don't really match up to anything significant anymore.
But we didn't have a hiatus during anniversary season.
No, I know. I'm saying, but the numbers don't line up.
No, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be like episode 150
right,
or
whatever. Right. Math. But no, that's crazy to me. It's a journey that we set on 3 years ago.
Yeah. Remember how we were gonna meet up once a month and record 4 episodes?
life. Am I right?
Also, you remember how it was going to be a 1 hour show in which we talked about like 4 movies?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Things change.
Here we are sometimes having 3-hour episodes, which feature 2.5 hours of news, notes, nuggets, beer, and other bullshit, and 30 minutes of movie.
Maybe an hour of The Witcher. It really just depends on the week.
Maybe an hour of Witcher Watch.
Toss a coin. Other news and nuggets. Shall we dive right in?
Mm-hmm.
Came across this Uncharted news that excited me. Just because I didn't realize anything was actually happening. I thought it was another thing that was just kind of sitting around. Anyway.
I thought Uncharted was going to go the way of the Flash movie and Gambit and...
Yeah, just like disappear.
Yeah.
We lost it in the snap. In an interview with Collider, here's what Mark Wahlberg had to say. I start filming in about 2 weeks' time. That blew my mind. It's exciting because without giving too much away, it's more of an origin story. Meeting them and Nathan becoming Nathan. Sully and him meeting. This is hard to read. Just so you know, it's very broken English.
It's Mark Wahlberg.
Trying to not get over on each other, but also starting to partner up and develop that relationship. It'll be very cool. It's the first time I'm in a movie that's a movie. I don't know what that line means. I felt like when I was reading it, I was reading Indiana Jones or Thomas Crown Affair. It's got these great elements of these heist movies and adventure movies like I've never been a part of. That gets me very excited because that means that I don't know if he's a fan of Uncharted, but if he's right in that without being like knowing Uncharted at the level of playing the games, that means that they're nailing the look and feel of those movies. They also casted the movie very well. I think it's going to be pretty awesome to see those two characters together as Mark Wahlberg and, what's his face? Tom Holland.
Wait, okay, that's good because I was going to ask, is Mark Wahlberg supposed to be in this movie or is he producing it? Both?
He's playing Sully, according to this, which is the counterpart.
I don't know anything about Uncharted.
So in Uncharted, you got Nathan Drake. He's
That's literally the only thing I know.
He's the lead, and Sully is like his mentor, friend / guy who's always trying to get one over on him. It's a very strange relationship, but it's they go back and forth, but they have each other's back most of the time, unless there's a little too much money involved, it seems. But it's a fun dynamic.
So this is like the dynamic between Indy and what's his name in Crystal Skull, where he's a double agent, then he's a triple agent, and then it's like, no, I was never a triple agent, I was always just 100%. A double agent, but really it was about the money.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Exactly. Imagine Indiana Jones plus Benicio's character from The Last Jedi.
Well, I just figured it was going to be Ray Winstone, like specifically from the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because it's basically what he was doing.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm really excited about this. I love those games. I love the stories are so much fun. The games are really they're super entertaining. And like, it's always been a game that I like. You play that game and it's got like these tremendous cutscenes, and it's like, you know immediately, like, this would work as a movie. It's already, like, the script is, like, you could go from here to a movie. Like, you could just take the script and port it, and it'd be fine. It'd be really entertaining. But, like, obviously, they have to add a little bit of flair to it. But it's, I don't know, the fact that he's starting to film in 2 weeks, I was like, that blew my mind, because I really thought that this was just going to die.
Imagine living in a world in which we could have had 2 beloved game series, both Tomb Raider and Uncharted.
Do you think we'll actually get there?
I don't know. No, I'm just saying that the fact that we had two successful game series that are now going to spawn movie series as well is like just icing on the cake.
Yeah,
I just can't believe that like they're the same thing. And like even Indiana Jones had their own games. The Infernal Machine, anyone?
Yeah. That was that 64?
Infernal Machine?
Yeah.
I know it was a PC game.
Yeah. There was an Indiana Jones game on the 64 that was tough.
It might have had an N64 port as well. I'm not sure. I think my brother actually played that some on PC. I played like 5 minutes of it. I was very intimidated. I actually had a handful of PC games. I was so intimidated by them. Like I played, might have been Shadows of the Empire? No, it wasn't. It was one of the other Star Wars games.
Rebel Assault.
I don't remember which one it was.
That one's
it was
classic.
Like, it was like, I just know that it reminded me of like the Doom style, like with like a Star Wars game instead. And so I don't remember which one it is. I know it's one of the ones that's fairly well known. I'm sure there's someone listening who's screaming it at the end of the game. And I played like 5-10 minutes of it, and I was just so overwhelmed that I like gave it up.
It's too much. It's too much.
Basically, I was just like because it was like I wasn't like I was young. I was like maybe like 8-9 years old. It wasn't a huge video game. Like I had a Game Boy. Like I played a ton of like Pokemon and other like Game Boy games. But really, at that time, the only console games I played was basically like when I was at your house playing N64,
right? Which
was like twice a year. So like, it was a little bit of Mortal Kombat, a little bit of GoldenEye, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, you had that Nomad.
That was around the time that the Nomad was starting to come into play, but even that was like, I was playing like Sonic.
You were the one person that had the Nomad. I just want to be very clear that machine was developed for you.
It took me another year or two to play, because I got the Genesis with a bunch of games which fit the Nomad.
That thing was way ahead of its time. The fact that is basically the Nintendo Switch.
I was going to say, it was a Switch 25 years before the Switch existed.
It's insane.
And for some reason it didn't pick up, which I don't understand, because the battery life was decent, and literally, it took the Genesis cartridge and played the whole fucking game on a mobile platform.
Yeah.
And also, you could plug the mobile platform in to the console as a controller.
And that's why Al has forearms that look like tree trunks. Because he had to carry around a CRT in a handheld form.
Yes, that is the reason my forearms are so big.
Also, the fact that... Okay, here's what's crazy. Even the fact that you could plug in another Sega remote to the bottom of that thing and play multiplayer on the tiny-ass screen.
On the Nomad?
Of course I do. It was the most ridiculous thing that I've done when it comes to playing video games. It was so small.
Of the many ridiculous things that you've done playing video games, that does have to be, at bare minimum, top 2.
As you and I, for the 100th time, get 2 minutes into Batman Forever.
You remember how many times it took us playing it to figure out how to get more than 2 minutes in?
No, all I remember is that when I tried playing it, I don't know, like last year, I couldn't, and I got stuck, and I couldn't remember how to move past it, and I felt
I know,
defeated.
We got stuck on the same stupid thing.
Yeah. Oh, God. What a disaster. Video games used to be really hard.
Video games used to be fundamentally broken a lot.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that you almost just choked to death on that line.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, man.
It looked like the truth of that hitting your brain caused you to swallow your tongue.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it felt like. I want to source a Nomad for like my kids to have one day.
I had it for the longest time. I'm actually surprised they don't have it, because we tend to be kind of pack rats with these things. It literally probably just got lost in translation. It might have been part of garage sale when we moved back to New York, because we had to downsize a lot, although you would have thought that a mobile platform would have been something that survived the downsizing.
Right, on account of the trip that you needed to take.
Well, just the fact that, we weren't going to have like a super convenient like console, because we went from having like 3 or 4 TVs to having 2 TVs, because we had one for like the living room and one for my parents' bedroom, I think, because we only had like 4 rooms plus like dining room, kitchen, and the kitchen was like smaller than most office kitchens. I mean, like literally, like when they say the office has a kitchen, but what they mean is it has a refrigerator.
It's got a coffee nook with a fridge.
It's got a coffee nook with approximately 6 linoleum tiles and a mini fridge. We had the full-size fridge, but about the same size rest of the kitchen, which somehow featured an oven and a dishwasher. It was ridiculous.
1 unit?
Yeah.
It's like one of those toaster microwave situations where you're not quite sure that it's legal.
There was definitely a black mold situation in my closet, so that was fun.
Sick.
And the thing is, it was a brand new apartment when we moved into it. Like, literally, the structure must have existed for maybe a year when we moved in, and we lived there for 9 months.
Beautiful.
And somehow, black mold.
Man, I think I'd like a long week of just having all of my old video game consoles and like a console television too, like the one where I have to sit on the floor. You know what I mean? The one that we used to have in our basement? Wood cabinet around it? I want one of those. With the on button that's like a plunger that you pull out. It's like ka-chunk! And the TV turns on. Maybe.
One of those TVs that when you turn it on, you know it turned on because you heard it.
Yeah, and it sizzles.
You felt it.
Oh, yeah, you felt it. Yeah, your hair just went straight up when that TV turned on.
It was like the mother of all thunderstorms rolling in every time you turned on the TV.
Everything's just like always slightly getting a little bit more green. Oh, man.
No, see, I wish we had today's technology, like, from a processing standpoint, like, where it's like, you know it's gonna work when you turn it on every time, with today's graphics, but the old console with the old controller and old game.
Yeah.
And, like, it can be pixelated, but, like, it's on 4K.
Sure. But still wireless controllers. I'm not giving that up.
Sure. Although, if you're gonna... Well, considering you were willing to sit down on the console TV, like, kneel on the ground...
I'll sit on the floor in front of the TV with a wireless controller. Fear not.
Well, I was saying, if you're gonna sit in front of the TV, you might as well have it... Like, it doesn't matter at that point. Like, that's icing.
That's true. But there's always, like, that, there's always that risk. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's where the excitement comes from. That risk that someone's gonna run by and rip the cord out and just ruin your day.
Or dogs.
Yeah.
See, you had a cat and you had Maggie, who was tiny. I feel like Maggie probably wasn't as dangerous as our dogs. Who were bigger.
Maggie was afraid of everything. Maggie was afraid of air, so she was never. She wouldn't rip the cord out. She also
weighed 11 pounds.
That's true. Yeah, and 9 of those 11 pounds were in her eyes. Yeah, she had some bulging eyes. Anyway. I don't know, filming in 2 weeks, this is blowing my mind, because I thought the script was, like, in rewrites. I didn't even know if there was something final. If you're starting to film, clearly they've got something concrete to work on.
I mean, I would hope so.
So that gets me.
Speaking of anniversaries, though, that was a vintage tangent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I had actually
with a nice circle back, which I thought was...
yeah.
Okay.
I completely forgot how we got there.
It doesn't matter. Give me a new.
How about a fake new? No, that is not a political statement. This is truly a fake new. So, did you hear that Ben Stiller is going to be in Fast and Furious 9?
No.
Okay, he's not. But for like 18 whole hours, we had the possibility of Ben Stiller being in Fast and Furious 9. There was a news report that came out, I want to say Monday, in which they said that he was going to be filming very soon, even though they wrapped filming. So I don't know if he was going to be a part of the reshoots. And there seemed to be up for some debate whether he was going to be added in as an actual part of the movie or if he was showing up purely for a post-credit thing that would introduce him then for a succeeding Fast and the Furious.
Jason Statham situation.
Yes. And so when I went to look for an actual story a couple hours ago to link for this, I found out that there was an update to the story in which he directly denied that he was going to be a part of it. So, fake new.
Now, is Ben that Stiller, direct denial throwing us off the trail?
See, I don't like direct denials that are lies. In you get that when people are caught in a crime or something like that. But when we're talking about
was it I'm not going to be in the movie? Because what if it's something like they show a picture of him, like a mugshot?
What I think the quote was, and I didn't bother bringing a story because the update to the story was 3 sentences long. The quote, I believe, was something along the lines of, "Unfortunately, that's totally untrue." It sounded that's a funny story. Yeah, it would be cool to be part of Fast and Furious, but I'm not.
But I want to be.
Unless the way he phrased it, unfortunately, totally untrue, was hint, hint. I sure would like to.
Right.
Your people call my people.
Balls in your court.
Yeah, the fans want it. I'm okay with it. You let me know.
All right, I got a dumb one.
Dumber than that? Dumber than what I just did?
No, I don't think. But maybe a little bit. Only because here's the problem. I was super into Star Wars when it came out, just because I was excited. Still like it. I don't dislike it. I'm sure it has its problems, and I could have, it could have been better. But now there's all of these things coming out one after another, and I'm just I don't care. I don't think I think I'm actually a little bit burnt out on Star Wars, which I never thought would happen. And I think it's because of all this talk around it.
That's part of it. I think also, and like you're just kind of alluded to a minute ago, you wanted to enjoy it, and you found the enjoyment in it, which I did too. And I think you found more than I did, but I did too. Yeah. It's something we've talked about, and like I said, I've talked to some people like my brother or Mike. Hey, Mike, we'll be talking about you later. Don't worry. And other people who I talked to were like, "Oh my god, I hated it. It was so bad." Blah blah blah, or whatever. And it's variations on those themes is like yeah, it's not a good movie, but it was Star Wars, and you just it wasn't a absolute train wreck. Like there's a lot of things I would have done differently, like a lot of them. But in the end, it's Star Wars, and just try and enjoy it for what it is. And there are unquestionably cool and fun things in the movie.
For sure.
There are good things in the movie, even if it doesn't really work overall. And I think that's part of it, is just coming to like the adrenaline is down, right? Like it's been a couple of months, like you've seen it a couple of times. And at this point you can say, I enjoyed it, I had fun with it for what it was, but it's not very good. And like now looking back, it's like, yeah, I'm going back to now being kind of annoyed that it wasn't more, even while still saying like I liked it.
Right.
But like I wish I expected more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like well, you have to put up the shield for a little bit, because there is on top of the hatred and the discord, it's like it's a little too much hate.
Yeah.
But there are certain things in there that are fair. So now here we go. This is a quote from Ian McDiarmid, pulled from the Independent. But it's interesting, because at one point the script had a line in the first scene with Adam Driver when he says, "You're a clone." And I said in that original script, which is no longer with us, "More than a clone, less than a man." Which seemed to me to sum it up, really. No. It doesn't. It's just like all of this information and like all of these things. Like there was the thing. I feel like maybe a couple days after the movie released, where there was like writings and like some sort of novelization storybook thing that answered a few questions, but to your point, which is valid, doesn't really matter, because that's not what was presented to the audience.
Yes.
And this doesn't matter. This change doesn't actually mean anything. As a matter of fact, I believe that if this was a thing, it actually convolutes things even more. But it's just like these things are coming out, like this clip after clip. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's all over right now, and I just don't really understand why.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until they're just done with this, call it diarrhea of like facts coming out, because it's just like a fact here, 5 facts there, and it's just like,
yeah,
like little bit. Like I'm just gonna wait and read a summation of all of it once it's finally out, because it's like Palpatine was a clone. 5 other things that are even more ridiculous than Palpatine being a clone. That was a headline I actually saw online today. I didn't read it. And I'm just like, okay, you guys set everything straight, get all your ducks in a row, and then let's talk.
Boil it down. Just give me a bullet list.
Yeah, no, because like sometimes here, like like for instance, recently we did like the Amazon like Lord of the Rings casting, and like over the course of like 3 episodes, we got there's a new name, there's 5 new names, whatever, and it's fine because like that's how the information was coming out. It was breaking news of something like. So I'm cool covering that sort of thing like that, but then ultimately after about 3 or 4 episodes, like I do feel like we're kind of spinning our wheels. So I usually, like if I see something new that's not super important, I'm just going to leave it out of the rundown. I'm not even going to mention it to you, because like we've got the gist of it. Like the topic is done, and we'll check back in 6 months when they're actually shooting the show or whatever. And and for same thing with this, like I just like I don't want to like talk about Palpatine was a clone this week, and then next week talk about something else that's kind of twisting that to some degree or other. Like, just give it all to me. We can decide to talk about it or not when that time comes. Yeah. But, like, I don't want to do this thing periodically. Just get it out of your system. It's done. Finish it off.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm just a little tired, is all. Mm-hmm. Give me a new. What do you got?
Well, I hope you're not too tired of Star Wars, because let's talk about Project Maverick.
Oh, is this a game?
It is.
But is it actually going to happen, or is it going to be like canceled like every other Star Wars game?
Mystery Star Wars game Project Maverick seemingly leaks on PSN. This is on IGN. This was from earlier today. Star Wars Project Maverick has seemingly leaked on the European PlayStation Network, and it appears to be an unannounced game. Posted by Twitter bot PSN Releases and posted on Reset Era by user Solzonic, it appears a listing was created for the game on the European PSN backend with a logo, image attached below. While that listing won't appear on the public store, its details can still be scraped by services like this bot. These hidden listings have also recently outed the likes of Resident Evil 3 ahead of their official announcement.
Oh, interesting.
We've never heard of Project Maverick before, and it appears this is an early listing for a completely unannounced project.
I hope it's like a flight school X-wing thing.
So more on that in one sentence. The presence of a tiny group of X-wings flying towards a Star Destroyer in the logo image has led some to speculate that this is a dogfighting game in the vein of the classic X-Wing or Rogue Squadron games. So there's a picture. It's with a red scale. It looks like there's some sort of like floating rocks. It looks like there might be some man-made structures in the background. There's a shadowed Star Destroyer facing towards you. There's at least 4 X-Wings flying towards it, like in the foreground with the what's called in the background, the Star Destroyer in the background, and across it in like that diagonal like Star Wars print, similar to like how Solo, yeah. It says Star Wars Project Maverick, and so yeah. This is last month we heard that EA had canceled a Star Wars game codenamed Viking in 2019, but that quote a smaller, more unusual project was still in the works at EA Motive in Montreal. It's possible that this is Project Maverick. So that was something that me and Brian had discussed a couple of months ago. We mentioned it on the show. So then this just goes on talking about there was one codenamed Orca, there was the Amy Hennig game, there was codenamed Ragtag, which I don't remember that one.
So, are we like 1-for-1 cancellations and releases at this point with EA?
Well, it depends on the viability of this game, because if this one gets canceled, I think there will have been more cancellations than successful releases.
Jesus Christ.
Successful being used liberally here.
Yeah. I'm so curious. Like, it just seems like they only have the license for a limited time. And
well, when we had talked about it a couple of months ago, I thought they were down to the last year or two, but it was extended quietly a while back, and so the contract goes through like 2024 now, I think.
Interesting.
I'm pulling that number out of my ass, but it was somewhere in the 2022 to 2024 range, if I remember
just
correctly.
Give me a Fallen Order sequel. And
well, we already know that they greenlit that.
Yeah, and then that
was something we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Or just let Respawn make all the games. That's fine.
Well, to a certain extent, that's going on because, and I forgot the guy's. Was it Stig Rasmussen? I think is the guy who's the head of Respawn.
Okay,
and he was after the success of Fallen Order, which we said outsold their projections by like 2.5 million.
Sorry, pause for 1 second. God, that's a good game. Go on.
Yes. After the earnings call with EA went through with that, because I think they projected it to sell about 6 million copies and ended up selling like 8.5 at least, like at the time of the call. And that was like 2 months ago or something like that. They announced that the guy who was in charge of Respawn, was going to be taking over control of, I want to say it was Motive, actually.
Oh.
Or DICE, that's what it was. He was taking over DICE as well, and it wasn't going to be restructured to be part of Respawn, but like that they would work in tandem. And so he was given greater power within EA, basically with the hopes that he would, yank that ship back on course, and that would probably like then yield more than one Star Wars game in the next couple of years. Like in the sense of like they've had 6 years of failures. Let's maybe get one successful launch per year going forward instead of one every 3 years.
Right. Well, I would be so on board with it. I think I actually mentioned this back when we were talking with Brian about, but I would love another like space fighting game in the Star Wars universe, like a Rogue Squadron or something along those lines. That'd be a lot of fun. The only other thing that could trump that for me would be Jedi power battles of some kind. I missed that game. It was so much fun.
Well, there was I remember playing the Rogue One games, or not Rogue One. I remember playing the Rogue Squadron games, or one of them, and that was a good time. Although it was a little bit beyond my abilities as a gamer back then, because I was only maybe 10 or 11 when those came out.
About a remake of Shadows, that'd be.
No, see, I don't understand the obsession with the advent of backwards compatibility. I don't understand really the appeal of HD remakes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So that's a good topic. If you are going to port and upscale whatever, I'm not super interested in it. If you're going to remake like the way they remade Resident Evil 2, I am so on board because the games of that era do not hold up.
Yeah, I get that. But on the other hand, it's just a reboot. That's the video game equivalent of The Force Awakens.
Right.
Give me something new.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. Well,
like if they're gonna, polish it and they're gonna give it. I was gonna say if they're gonna polish it and give me today's graphics, fine. The level of work required for that isn't super crazy, but like to do a full blown reboot of those things requires a ton of work that I don't think is justified.
Well, it doesn't have to be a remake or I'm interested in a game that was similar to that in style. Like I liked playing that smuggler character where actually being against stormtroopers was kind of a challenge, and like I don't know, and like you were in these crazy ridiculous situations like running on a moving train, and I don't know, it's really fun.
Sure. No, I mean like Shadows was a great game. I don't have a problem with that statement. I don't have a problem with let's make a game like Shadows.
You just don't you don't want Shadows again.
Do Shadows
That's
again.
fair.
Like
that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like come up with a game inspired by that style of game.
Totally.
That's a new game with a new story and new characters. Like
I'm down with that.
Fine.
Absolutely.
Because it's something I see all the time. Because I follow a handful of the bigger like developers in BioWare, specifically the guys who worked on Mass Effect, but a couple of people worked in Dragon Age as well. And every time one of them tweets, all of the replies are, not all, but like 60% of the replies announce a remake, announce an HD remake of Mass Effect, announce an HD port, blah, 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 like, et cetera, over and over again. And I just want to, like, come up with an ability to, like, mass respond to everything. I just want to create a bot that just mass responds to all these people. Shut the fuck up. Like, they've had enough problems the last few years. They have enough other things to be working on. Their history has been consistently being at the cutting edge of new RPG games.
Yeah.
Stop with the fucking navel games. Do something new.
There's a problem here though, is like people screaming for something. Like this is what like product people have to deal with this all the time. Like it doesn't matter how loud they are or how much they repeat themselves. There's a chance that that's not what they actually want. And it's more likely that it's not what they want.
But that's the problem is, when they do it, there's going to be 12 people who are like, thank you for finally doing it. And everyone else can be like, this is what you've been working on the last 5 years? You could have made something new that we would like.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's within the fandom, I'm more interested in the conversations, to a certain extent, because obviously plenty of them get toxic, but I'm more interested in the conversations people have around Andromeda online. Because, yeah, it was a misfire. But you know what? It was still a good game. It wasn't great. It doesn't hold up to the original trilogy.
It's a really high bar, and it's
an impossibly high bar to compare to. And when you look at...
Well, let's also not forget that people complained till no end about 3.
Yes.
So, like...
misguidedly. And to be fair, I actually never saw the quote-unquote original ending. When I finished it, it was just at a time where, like, I was super busy. And to BioWare's credit, they patched it really quickly. But I was in college. I was super busy at the time it came out. It came out not that long before finals. It was the longest of the 3 games. It's like a 50 or 60 hour game or something like that. Whereas like the first one was like a 30-hour game. Second one was like 30 to 40 hours. Mm-hmm. And then this one was like almost 60-hour game. I just didn't have the time to sit down and knock it out. Like if I really wanted to, I could have, and my grades would have like suffered. I played the game a decent amount. And then I heard everyone bitching about the ending, and then like within a day or two, there was like BioWare's going to do something to fix it. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to pause here and wait till they finish whatever it is they're doing.
I'll wait.
So, my experience was one, and I've never run into bugs the way that a lot of people do in games. I don't know if it's just that because I'm not running it at a high enough like power or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I don't play on PCs with like the cutting edge of graphics technology and the most powerful like CPU, or because I'm not playing with whatever the HD console, like the second or third generation of within a console generation is.
Right.
But I've never run into like the actual bugs that I've seen people like. In considering I only buy a couple of games a year, when I see it's a big release that I'm like super like plugged into, so I see a lot of stuff online before and after the release of it, and like I see people bitching about bugs, and I'm like, I saw one bug. It didn't affect my play at all.
Right.
So I don't care. Like it is what it is. And it's like, oh my god, this game broke on me, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, no. If it did, fine. If it actually did, like ate your save, whatever. That sucks.
Sure, but
did it?
It was like, oh my god,
did it?
I remember the thing. So like going to Andromeda. I know we're bouncing back and forth to Andromeda for 1 second. There was a specific bug that I remember people talking about a ton, and it caused one of the NPCs who's in your crew to, during one specific conversation that you have at a specific point in the game with the character. It was not a full-blown cinematic because they started in some of the BioWare games in recent cycles. Not every conversation gets a full-blown cinematic. Sometimes it's that half and half where you can like exit the conversation, but you still have the conversation wheel open. The camera is like pinned to that conversation. You can rotate around yourself while having the conversation with the person. It's in the immersive thing. It's just not full-blown like cutscene. And it caused the character to duplicate.
Right.
Like just the character model duplicates. Doesn't break the game. Doesn't do anything. It's slightly immersion breaking. There's now 2 Krogan standing in front of you. God forbid. It didn't affect anything at all about the game.
Right.
And I was like, I saw people bitching about this. I was like, that's a weird problem to have. I had that bug. You know what it did to my effect? Like to affect my playing of the game? Precisely.
You went stupid.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, that's weird. And then nothing else. Like it had zero impact on my playing of the game.
Right.
I'm like, this is what people are spending hours screaming at everyone about. And we know about crunch. You know about crunch. Anyone who's played games and knows anything about playing games knows about crunch. These people like killed themselves for 2 years to make this game. And you're going to spend
more than
8 hours a day tweeting at these developers, telling them to kill themselves because there's 2 Krogan on your screen.
Well,
are you fucking kidding me?
They are, but like we gotta. I mean, I am not gonna defend the actions at all. But these problems are way deeper.
Of course they are. But the thing is, in this game and in 3, they were so overblown. Because I played all 3, and I didn't finish it that.
Oh no! I meant the problems of the people complaining are way deeper. They're
sure. I'm just saying. But what I'm saying is, the mental health of these people was affected on really real levels. These businesses were impacted pretty substantially. EA trades on the stock exchange. There was real money that disappeared, value that was lost in the stock market over this fucking bullshit. Like, let's call it what it is. If you want to have those conversations around something like Anthem, because we're sticking on BioWare here, and that's not the only game, talk about, which one was it, Assassin's Creed Black Flag that just like didn't exist as a game or something like that? Was it that one or was Odyssey or whatever? There's one of the major releases of Assassin's Creed that just physically wasn't a game when it released. Like, to the level almost of Superman N64. Like, that game that's known as one of the worst games of all time. But in 2015, not in 1995.
Yeah, I don't think it was either of the two that you mentioned, but I'm going to guess it was one that was in between that, because the two that you just mentioned were actually very well received.
Okay, there was one of them in that time. You know what I'm talking about. There was one of them that was like, it like didn't exist. And like 12 hours after the game released, they came out with a formal apology and then immediately made the game free to play. Mm-hmm. Because they're like, yeah, we know we...
Oh, yeah, I don't know what that was. I vaguely remember something along those lines. I will say, I did experience that Superman game on N64, and I remember renting it from Blockbuster, plugging that into my N64, starting it, and being like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, we all know the stories. There's the E.T. game, there's the N64 Superman, like, there's games that just, in the past, like,
shit happens.
They didn't exist. And, like, be mad about those, by all means. Be mad about Anthem, by all means. Considering the amount of time I've played 3 and played Mass Effect Andromeda, the level of bullshit that happened around those make me almost sick to my stomach. Because it's like, what is wrong with you people? Like, not to say they're wrong
with you people? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Not to say that they're perfect. There's a big difference between perfect and this game broke and I want my money back.
Right.
There is a big difference between those two, and neither of those ones approached the level. And it drives me nuts to watch hundreds or thousands of people online bullshitting about those things.
Yeah. That's fair. Enough of this nonsense negativity. Let's move on to something fun. I've got something fun for you here. Came out, the shortlist put out the 10 best Schwarzenegger films, and I obviously bit. And I would like to go through this list and point out its flaws.
I thought we were doing a positive thing.
We are. The fact that this list exists, huge win. All right, number 1. Oh, well, number 10 on the list. Can't even do numbers right. Number 10 on the list is The Last Stand. To be honest with you, never heard of it.
I'm not familiar.
So that apparently is on Prime right now, so I might give that a go just because, Schwarzenegger movie. Why not? Anyway, that's number 10. We're going to move on from there. Number 9 is Twins. Now, I'm a fan of Schwarzenegger. I feel like he's got a lot of movies. The fact that Twins is on the top 10 list is interesting to me. It's okay. There's a movie on this list that there's a movie that's absent from this list that bothers me, which we'll get to towards the end. Number 8 on the list is Conan the Barbarian, which I realize I haven't seen that movie in a really long time, and I think it would be really fun to do that.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think I've ever seen all of that. What I have seen all of is Red Sonja, which he's also in as Conan.
So there's the
But I've also seen parts
He's Conan Barbarian, and what's the other one? The Destroyer? Is that the other one? He's in another Conan movie.
Oh, okay. So I've seen part of Conan the Barbarian. I'm pretty sure I've seen all of Red Sonja once or twice. But the problem is I forget which parts belong to which movie.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you.
Other than, like, the big fight scene between him and Red Sonja obviously happens in Red Sonja.
Or it does. Number 7 on the list, and this is just an outrage. That's number 7. But Last Action Hero is clearly a top 3 film for Schwarzenegger. Last Action Hero is tremendous.
That was on one of the movie channels a lot within the past couple of weeks. I actually want to see if I can fire it up if it's on when I'm on.
It's so good. I'm ready to do that. When you are, I'm ready.
The problem is my watching schedule now is it has to be very scheduled.
That's fair. This is worth your time, though. This Last Action Hero rewatch.
Sure, it's just the problem is right now, everything is...
I think we should watch this together.
I think
that would be enjoyable. Number 6 on the list is Commando. Probably right in the right spot.
Yeah, that's around the right
6 Commando.
spot. Yeah.
Number 5 is The Running Man.
That's one that I want to see.
Oh, really? Oh, we should watch that together. That probably doesn't hold up. So I'd be very curious. Like, I'll still like it, but I can imagine. Like, I know, like, there's some really rough delivery of lines in those movies. in the movie specifically from that like 80s-ish era. It's
at least at least I don't think I've seen any of that one, but I know that's one that like I have earmarked as eventually I'll try to get.
I'm pretty sure the Running Man is I'll Be Back. I think that's where that originated. I'm pretty sure. Number 4 is The Terminator. Fair enough. I guess it's got to be up there. Yeah, the original. I'm gonna ask you.
I'm guessing T2's got to be top 3, right?
Of course. The Terminator is like it just has to be in the top 10 list.
Yeah, I would have pushed it lower down. I honestly would have put that behind Commando.
Oh yeah, I think so too. Number 3, we got Total Recall.
Okay, perfect. That belongs.
Good shot. Number 2 is The Predator. Predator. I realize if I say The Predator, I'm talking about a completely different movie. Yes. Number 2 is Predator, and number 1 is obviously Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Noticeable absence from this list. Top 3, Jingle All the Way should be up there, and so should Jingle All the Way, Terminator 2, and Last Action Hero are the top 3 Schwarzenegger movies, hands down. No arguments allowed.
I was actually okay with the top 3. I was good with, like, you could quibble about the order, but like I think they got the right 3 for the top 3.
Well, I think Total Recall, Predator, and Commando are good runners up, and then it's not clear to me why Twins is on this list.
Probably because it's him and his comedic, like.
Then put Jiggle All the Way on the list.
Cat. It was gonna be that or Kindergarten Cop.
Oh, Kindergarten Cop. Anyway, this is a very strange list. I just feel like there was a lot of options.
No End of Days.
That movie.
No Eraser.
Oh, Eraser.
Right.
Oh my God. That gun. Jesus Christ! That scene,
right? That gun was badass.
With the knife in his belt buckle as he jumps out the airplane. Come on, it's so good. I need a John Mulaney breakdown of Eraser. That's what I need.
Wow, that was random.
He does a great breakdown for a lot of movies. Eraser would be perfect for his comedic delivery.
But what about The Sixth Day?
Sixth Day, I've got that one. You know who gave me that movie? Any Cookie.
Wait, what?
Any Cookie gave me The Sixth Day.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I have like these strange things. When I get a movie as a gift, for whatever reason it really sticks with me that like who gave it to me. But yeah, anyway, that's one of them. That was a bizarre movie.
Yeah. The funny thing was, a couple months ago, like within I'm gonna say within 2020.
Okay.
I didn't have work that day. It was like a random day of the week. Woke up, did some yoga in the morning, flipped from YouTube to the TV, boom, Sixth Day. And I was like, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie. I've seen this movie. I was like, I've seen this movie probably 10 times, but 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because it came out literally 20 years ago. And I'm like, I don't 100% remember what's going on right now. Like, I remember what the movie's about, the big picture plot points. But I had a couple of like moments during that where I was like, forgot they were in this movie. Also, what's going on? Also, forgot how specifically the year 2000.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We've talked about that in the past when we did Bedazzled. Uh-huh. For whatever reason, the years between specifically 1999 and 2001, every single movie, with the exception of some like very, very like out there like sci-fi like stuff like that's like just like in a setting that's not like traditional like our world say like any other movie within those 3 years is
right. It's that 4-year period where we almost had special effects.
No, but it's not just that. For whatever reason, I don't know if it was like the union was like specific to that, or if there was only one person who was allowed, literally one person who was allowed to do set design for every single movie. But every office and house looks exactly the same.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's manufactured, and it's like brought in on the truck. So you got that. You have there's
and the cinematography in those scenes.
Absolutely,
absolutely.
And then also somebody
because
at some
it's different
point
when like
drops from a high place and falls very far.
Well,
usually
there's
through
that
glass.
Too. But I was gonna say that the cinematography can be different during certain action sequences, like sci-fi like things or whatever. But anytime someone is just in an office or just in a home, the set design and cinematography exactly the same in every single movie made in that 3-year span.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. I'm telling you, this might have to do with the fact that, again, when we almost had special effects, maybe it is the same scene, and they just put different people's faces on the actors and actresses. I think that's what it was. That's how they got away with it. Man, I haven't thought about that movie in a long time, but I will tell you what's on my mind right now is I need a 4K copy of Eraser. Like, that needs to happen stat. When this show is over, I'm going to see if I could buy that right now online.
Well, it's funny because End of Days definitely resonated with you as a child, like when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember when that movie came out because I remember how obsessed you were with it for like 8 months. Uh-huh. But watching your reaction to me mentioning the 6 Day in Eraser, specifically Eraser,
yeah.
I'm so glad that I was able to elicit those responses from you.
I have
triggered those memories
in my parents' house, at the bottom of the steps in the basement, where we have that very strange. I'm sure if you were born somewhere in the late 80s to the early 90s, you probably have this little cabinet thing where you push on it and the doors swing open and the VHS tapes go in it. Huh? Yep. All those. I've got those now. Mind you, what the beautiful thing about this cabinet in particular is that we had that little unspoken partnership with Select Video next to the pizzeria, so we would get these random movies and we would just get to keep them. Eraser was one of those movies because my dad would come home, bless his soul, with Schwarzenegger movies for me. Now I have a copy of Eraser that is now. I want to see like how much you remember this. It's the movie in the obviously it's a paper cardboard box, right? That slips over this. Now
it covers what 5 of the 6 surfaces on that. Or, sorry, 7 of the 8 surfaces on that movie. It slides over the top
100%, 100%. Now, mind you, this came from a VHS rental shop, right? A mom-and-pop rental store. Mm-hmm. So that thing is inside of a plastic case where you squeeze the side and the movie slides out of the bottom.
The cardboard is inside the plastic? Usually you get one or the other.
It's inside of it, and on the side of the VHS tape, there's like the box plastic contraption, which is like so dirty that you can't even see through it anymore. You squeeze the little edge, and the movie slides out of the bottom because you're like releasing the little area where it could slide out of. Anyway,
it's funny because I remember that thing, mm-hmm. that contraption, but not super well because none of the places near me had it.
Sure.
What I had Blockbuster and I had Hollywood Video.
Oh.
So everyone knows that the Blockbuster case, the way it clicks open and close, right? Hollywood Video, similar, but more finicky. Uh-huh. And both of those things paled in comparison to the old school soft-ish plastic
the Disney case
VHS thing that clicked shut, but only the first several times it did it because eventually it started to mush.
Right.
It wouldn't click so much as just
right. The Disney case that is like 2 millimeters too large to fit in any standard VHS cabinet.
Yeah. Well, you know what it was? It was the little bit of border that would. You know the Blockbuster case had like a 1/16 of an inch border around the actual like frame of the case, mm-hmm. and the Disney one had like a 1/2 inch border around the whole thing.
There's something special about coming home with a Blockbuster box, cracking it open, putting that movie in, or better yet, when it was an N64 rental game, and you crack it open and you pull out Buck Bumble for the first time, and you realize this is a mistake.
It sure is, because I'm not familiar with Buck Bumble.
A lot of games. There's a lot of disappointments on the N64.
The funny thing is, though, that reminded me of listening to a radio show today. I was listening to the Dan Le Batard show, and they were talking about if there was a question, and it was, if you were about to get into a fight, a serious fight with someone, but you were living in a movie, what would the song that played as the fight was about to start be? And everyone had to pick their own fight, and someone picked Knuck If You Buck. But what's funny about that is it's on live radio. So he walked very thin line. And they're like, you decide. And it was one of the producers in the back, not one of the hosts. So it was like, they have to be like, I'm going to say something now, they key the mic on, and then say, "Knuck if you buck." And it's like, and they were like, you took the time to come to the microphone, make the conscious choice that you're gonna say those words. You nailed it, but do you realize how thin the ice is? Can you say "Knuck if you buck" 10 times?
Absolutely not. Oh my god, that's pretty great. What other news and nuggets do you have? I'm fresh out.
Oh, okay. Well, we did Project Maverick. How about... I'm just going to let you peek into my world here a little bit. My note here, Bloodshot, question mark?
Okay. Do you remember what it is?
No, I do. I was hoping that was going to trigger something in you. So, you remember that movie Bloodshot that Vin Diesel's going to be in?
That who's in?
Vin Diesel.
Bloodshot?
Yes.
I can't say that I remember that.
So it's funny because I remember a while back them announcing it, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. And so then it was like, oh, it's a superhero, like it's like a comic book movie, like he wanted to play this character, they're going to do this movie. I was like, okay, cool, I don't care. And I was like, it's just one of those things I'll file away until like there's a trailer somewhere. And the trailer came out a couple months ago. I never saw it. And then I didn't hear anything about it again, just like I hadn't heard anything about it between the announcement that he was going to be in the movie and the trailer. And then I was sitting down to dinner tonight watching TV, and there was a commercial for Bloodshot, which is out March 13th.
This March?
Yeah, like 9 days from now.
Release March 13th,
we're
2020.
We're recording March 4th, in case you couldn't figure it out, guys. Yeah, so in 9 days, a movie...
Oh my god.
Big-ish movie, blockbuster-ish movie, comic book movie, superhero movie, starring Vin Diesel. It's coming out in 9 days.
With zero marketing and promotional material.
Yeah, so now you understand why I've said Bloodshot question mark in my notes. Because I'm like, oh my god, that's coming out in less than 2 weeks. And I have not thought about that movie.
Oh my god.
In months.
All right, well, I'm gonna take over for a second because I have the IMDb page up right now. And it has a tagline. And that tagline reads, "Being a hero is in his blood."
I love terrible movie slugs.
Oh, me too. Oh, you want a terrible movie plot? This is the plot. The IMDb synopsis. Ray Garrison, a slain soldier, is reanimated with superpowers. That's it.
Can confirm, in the 30-second commercial, there was a line, "A lot of soldiers died. You were the first one that we successfully reanimated."
Oh my god.
I'm paraphrasing slightly, but I'm pretty sure I know.
What I want to know is how this movie has a set number of stars already.
They made a big deal about this movie, that Vin Diesel wanted to make this movie. That he wanted to be this character. And I was like, oh, that's going to be a movie that gets a lot of backing when it comes out. It's going to get a lot of promotion. You're not going to hear the end of this movie when it comes out. Vin Diesel, big star. Comic book movie that he wants to do. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm not going to put it on the same level as like Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, but it's like the movie's not getting made unless it's Vin Diesel wanting to make it type of deal, right? I have not thought about this movie in 18 months.
That's ridiculous. I'm trying to think back, and like I don't remember Pitch Black being promoted very well either.
Was that the first of them all, or the last?
That was the first one.
Okay, so I didn't even know that movie existed until I saw Chronicles of Riddick.
Okay, that's interesting. Maybe who's in charge?
I remember a ton of. I have no idea. Couldn't even tell you if it was DC, if it was Marvel, if it's Dark Horse. I have no idea what Bloodshot is.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This ridiculousness of it not being promoted makes me want to see it, and maybe that's the system working.
So Dave Wilson's directing it.
I know a Dave Wilson.
Who's Dave Wilson, you ask?
Is it him?
I was going to say, who's Dave Wilson, you ask? I don't know.
Dave Wilson's Jay's old roommate.
Oh my god. Do you know who Dave Wilson is?
Oh, I'm about to find out.
He has never directed anything.
Sweet.
Do you know what all of his credits are?
Video games?
Visual effects credits for video games. Star Wars The Old Republic, Knights of the Eternal Throne, which was an expansion of that MMO. Star Wars The Old Republic, Knights of the Fallen Empire, another expansion of that game. The Division. Avengers Age of Ultron, which I guess was the movie. Elder Scrolls Online, cinematic trailer. He's directed a bunch of trailers for video games.
That's kind of cool.
BioShock Infinite, Guardians of Middle-earth, PlanetSide 2.
Hey, good for him.
Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. You know what? I take it all back.
Mass Effect 2.
He directed the trailer for Mass Effect 2.
And Halo Wars.
Which, by the way, Mass Effect 2 trailer was really badass.
All right, we're going to have to check this out. He also directed a TV series short.
What, Bloodshot or the Mass Effect 2 trailer?
Yes?
No, legitimately, this isn't even my bias. The Mass Effect 2 trailer is badass.
All right, you know what? I'm in. I'm going to go see this. March 13th. I'm going to go see this in a week.
He directed one episode of a TV short.
This is all right. Yeah, everybody's going to start somewhere, Al. Maybe this guy's a tremendous director. You don't know.
Yeah, but
you don't know.
That's not how you. No,
I'm going in positive.
This is not how you get your start. You get your start by doing something that doesn't matter. You don't get your start by doing a quote-unquote superhero movie that's going to matter with a big, bankable movie star. Like, although, obviously, the way
decidedly
they're promoting
they're not matter by
the movie's coming out at the beginning of March, middle
and
of
I've
March.
never heard of it.
Yeah, so, but, like, in theory, you would have expected, when they announced it, the way they talked about it those first few weeks when they announced it, I assumed this movie was going to matter. I'm not saying I assumed it was going to be good. I assumed it was going to matter. This movie doesn't matter at all.
Dave Wilson's going to crush it.
Asa Gonzalez is in it.
All right, we're seeing this. It's settled.
She was the one from Baby Driver, right? Yes.
Well, that was a ridiculous story. What else you got?
As I am wont to do. Oh my God, Winnie the Bish.
Yes, Winnie the Bish.
Yes.
Winston is puzzling.
Winston's puzzling. See, I always think of whenever I think of Winston, I always think of it's a classic Winston and Cece mess around. Guy Pearce is in this movie. You know he's gonna be the bad guy, right?
I mean, he doesn't have a character name. I know. I'm assuming he's a villain. There's a person on this cast roster that has a character name of Tech Number 2, and there are 4 people that are not credited as specific characters. I am always confused by crediting on IMDb before movies come out, because I always get confused by them when they've already come out, and until I realize, they're doing it alphabetically or by order of appearance. Like sometimes it takes me a minute. No what? Oh, Al. I've got bad news. What? There are 2 people credited as Tech Number 2, and there's no Tech Number 1. I'm gonna hope there is also a Merc 2, and there's no Merc 1, and it's not number 2. It's just 2. Can we get our naming conventions correct? Either it's number 2 or it's 2. We don't get to have both types. All right. But yeah, I always get thrown by that when a movie has already come out, right? And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, because it's very easy to see when it's alphabetical. It's very easy to see when it's, the biggest star, and then it's like descending order. But I always get thrown when it's order of appearance, but it's not said, and I'm like, who the fuck came up with this cast list? We'll have to get into that with Jay and Silent Bob reboot when we get to the cast list. Yeah, that's a movie that does it. Not even the IMDb one. The IMDb one matches the movie, which is interesting. Well, the IMDb one I think was alphabetical. It took me a second to realize it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because Joey Lauren Adams, Ben Affleck. Okay, that makes sense. Let me. We're gonna go through this real quick. We're not gonna go through the actor names. We're just gonna go through the character names because this is important. Because this movie has 19 people, of which I'm pretty sure 16 are extras. So we have Jimmy Dalton. We have blank. We have Ray Garrison / Bloodshot. We have blank. We have Axe. We have blank. We have Wilfred Wiggins. Nick Barris. We have Eric. First name, he's gonna die. We then have blank. We have Tech Number 2. We have Mombasa Gunman. We have British Man. Truck Diver. Barris Merc, Tech Number 2 again, Mamba's Hostage, Merc 2, German Man, in parentheses, uncredited. What? Oh, man. This movie's going to be tremendous. It's going to be the best movie of the year.
I mean, I think the gist of this character is he gets shot and then the bullets don't hurt him or something. They actually might make him stronger.
I hope that's the case. like he soaks him up.
There's something going on with specifically, like, he gets shot, the bullet goes through him, and there's something with his blood. I don't know exactly.
Like in The Mask, when the bad guy puts the mask on, and they shoot him with Tommy guns, and he sucks up all the bullets, and then he shoots them back out with his mouth. We need more movies like this.
The one thing I need to find out before we continue on with this or whatever is, oh my god. Okay, so you know what? I take it all back. There's no chance this is good.
You don't say that.
First of all, it's made by Sony. Second of all, it's from Valiant Comics, which I don't know what that is.
You're judging this movie real hard.
Yeah, because a guy who does video game trailers is directing it.
What if he wants to move into motion pictures?
Then you don't do this movie.
You don't know? You're not in the biz?
No, but I'm adjacent to it. I
want this movie to rock so hard. You don't understand. I just want you to be so wrong about this. For Dave Wilson's sake.
I have nothing against Dave Wilson. Like I said, I'm a fan of the Mass Effect 2 cinematic trailer, but Valiant Comics, like I said, there's only two comic companies that everyone knows, is DC and Marvel, and I knew the third, which is Dark Horse. I don't know anything past this. This would be from Valiant. What?
There's a lot out there.
Yeah, but they don't matter.
Wow, you're just rude right now. You're just so rude.
Yeah, I regret nothing. I'm not taking it back.
All right.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You are.
I'm not.
Oh, God. Okay, what else you got? Because is it time for fun and games? Because I think I have a good one.
I have one final.
Give me the final no.
Sorry. Waiting for the page to load. No Time to Die. Latest Bond movie delayed until November.
What?
This was announced this afternoon. No Time to Die, James Bond's latest film, has been delayed until November 2020, quote, after careful consideration and thorough evaluation of the global theatrical marketplace, end quote.
They're afraid people aren't going to go to the movie theater.
Yes.
Got it.
I believe.
Here's a question.
The decision was I'm jumping down. The decision was likely due to global threat of COVID-19, aka coronavirus.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Basically, they're afraid that the box office receipts are going to be unduly low because of this.
Yeah. Let's wait till it gets cold again. Here's the thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this movie pushed up from November at one point?
Was it?
I could have sworn that it was originally supposed to come out in November.
I don't remember.
I could be wrong about that. It's just whatever. You know what? That's such horseshit. Release the movie.
Well, the thing is, like, there's been some rumors about stuff like GDC was canceled. Some other conventions might be canceled. Those I can understand. Because it's like thousands upon thousands of people packed into the same area, right? Sporting events.
Right, and they all always get sick.
Yeah. So, like Italy, like the nation of Italy has said, like, all of their sporting events for the next month are going to be played with no one in the stands.
It's going to play FIFA.
And, which is an odd thing. Oh, speaking of soccer, I forgot. I did not have internet service. I meant to bring this up. Briefest of nugget, just wanted to mention it to you. Did you know that Hans Zimmer wrote a theme for the MLS?
What?
I know, we're going to have to listen to it after we're done, or maybe you can cue it up while I finish talking and we can listen to it together. But apparently he wrote a theme, and I heard from soccer fans that it gives them chills.
I mean, if it's Zimmer, I would assume so.
I've not heard the theme, so I can't even tell you if you're going to find the right thing or not. I'm assuming you'll be able to find the right thing. But yeah, how weird is it that the Major League Soccer hired Hans Zimmer to write them a theme? I think it's what they play over, like, the players, like, coming out onto the field for announcements or whatever. But regardless, back to this thing. Movie theaters, like, 100 people go into one theater together. Do we really need to cancel people watching movies? Like, sporting events, 80,000 people? Sure. Conventions, tens of thousands of people in the same place, sure. Do we really need to cancel a screening of a movie that's going to have 100 people? Do you have words you want to say to that, or you just shake your head at that?
I was talking. I was muted because I was typing, and I didn't want the typing to come through. Sorry about that. I found the... no, this is ridiculous. Release the movie. That's all. No, I believe I found it. Listen to the anthem in the video below. All right, here we go. This should be Hans Zimmer's...
I hope you get rickrolled.
MLS. Oh, God, that would be so messed up. All right, that is a commercial, which we're not allowing to play.
I was going to say, that doesn't sound like something...
Imagine that was him. He just, went off the fucking wall. He's just bonkers now. All right, and now that the ad is over, I will be unmuting. All right, here we go.
Hello, I'm Hans Zimmer. It is an honor to create the new anthem for Major League Soccer as part of its 25th season celebration. With this composition, I try to give fans and the players a feeling of anticipation, drama and excitement. Everything that makes this game special.
Oh, man. Come on. He's so good. Damn. All right, Hans. Hans!
So I wasn't sure if you were aware of this because I know you love him so much, and I know you used to kind of be into soccer, but I know it was more like international, not like MLS per se.
Yeah. I don't know. That was amazing.
Yeah, I heard something about this the other day, and I was like, wait, I feel like Hans Zimmer writing a theme for a major sports league should be bigger.
Yeah, seriously. It's just also I love how in this article it's he's making the theme for soccer. Basically, Hans Zimmer is now in charge of the theme for soccer. That's one.
Hans Zimmer is soccer.
Which also it's Zimmer is currently authoring the score for the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die, which will be released in April. Wrong! Get your facts right, MLS.com.
Well, that press release was probably from weeks ago, and this story about the movie being delayed was literally 8 hours ago.
I know. I'm just salty. Shall we get into some fun and games?
Yes, please.
All right. Al, which View Askewniverse character are you? I don't know how to say that word. Askewniverse.
View Askewniverse?
Which View Askewniverse character are you? You ready for this?
Ooh, hang on a second. Before we go into this, I want to pick my View Askewniverse character.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick... Shit, I forgot the character's name. Whatever the priest was from Dogma, played by George Carlin.
Got it.
I don't know why he cracks me up in that movie.
He's pretty great. All right, you just saw something you weren't supposed to see. What do? Confront someone who you think is involved, or tell the cops. Never speak of it again. Tell everyone you know what you just saw. Tell your best friend about it.
Tell my best friend about
it. All right, what song?
I mean, we've discussed the story. I don't remember if we discussed it on the show or not, but I know I've discussed it with you that I have watched my best friend having sex against my will. So, yeah.
What song is your jam? I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. Beverly Hills by Weezer. 1999 by Prince. What I Got, Sublime.
None of those are really my jam. I'll go with the Weezer one.
It's a good choice. All right. What is your favorite thing to do in the whole world? Read comic books? Do a bunch of stuff? Be creative? Sleep? Watch movies? Play with animals? Read? Make jokes?
I'll go with watch movies. But If I had chosen comic books, does that automatically make me
I don't know, probably. Who is your boss? A company? Nobody. I'm my own boss. A higher power than me. Becky.
I guess a company.
Okay. Who gets on your nerves? Customers, the laws, my ex, haters.
Haters.
Hater tots.
I mean, I had a whole rant
true.
like 30 minutes ago about that.
What would make you want to leave a party? No good conversation. Something bad happened. There's nothing fun to do. Your ex showed up.
No good conversation.
Okay. What movie do you like better? Forrest Gump or Empire Strikes Back?
Empire.
It's pretty obvious. What director do you like best? Stanley Kubrick, Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg. Who?
Scorsese.
Okay. What would ruin your day? You got fired from your job, you broke your leg, you lost your credit and debit card, you lost a lot of money in a bet, you got in trouble with the law, you horribly embarrassed yourself.
Broke my leg.
Seems rough. What is the best Jay and Silent Bob quote? ... I got nothing. Yeah, Silent Bob, you're a rude motherfucker, you know that? But you're cute as hell. Snooch to the motherfucking nooch. You know, sometimes I wish I did a little more with my life instead of hanging out in front of places selling weed and shit. Like maybe be an animal doctor. Why not me? I like seals and shit. The sign on the back of the car said, Critters of Hollywood, you dumb fuck. Bitch, what you don't know about me, I can just about squeeze in the Grand fucking Canyon.
This was my favorite line, or the one that
your favorite.
most closely?
What is the best? It says.
I'm gonna go snooch to the booch.
Okay. Snooch to the nooch. Who's your favorite reoccurring actor in Kevin Smith films? Jason Mewes, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jason Lee.
Jason Lee.
I hands down, Jason Lee. Last question: what character is your least favorite? Caitlin Bree, Mr. Svenning, Banky Edwards, Lance Picklefucker Dowds, Brent, or Golgotha?
Wait, who is the pickle fucker? Who is it?
It's Jason Lee, but he's it's in Clerks too. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh, yeah, where you get the bad mustache.
Gave us free eats.
Sorry, wait, who is my least favorite character? You said? Can you give me the list again?
Caitlin Bree, Mr. Svenning, Banky Edwards, Golgothan, Brent, or Lance Picklefucker Downs.
Who is the first one?
Caitlin Bree. She was from Clerks.
The first one? Oh, I don't remember her. Okay. I guess Golgotha? The shit monster?
Of course. Calculating result. They put a lot of effort to. You got Brody! Nice. That's a good choice. It says the gift they chose is him getting held back by TS, and it says, what, you fuckers just think because I read comics I can't start some shit? Which is a tremendous line. And
oh my god, he's on the escalator again.
Great, tremendous line. My favorite part of that movie is that one line in the distance where there's a kid called the escalator. Anyway, the caption we got here is, you love comic books and live your life by them. Video games are something you like as well. You also love going to the mall and hanging out with your friends. You're very immature, a smartass, and can hold your own. You're also brave and can lighten anybody's mood. You know what to do when life throws you a curveball, and you better yourself when it does. Just because you read comics doesn't mean you can't start some shit.
I have to say, most of those things do not apply to me.
No, not at all. But that was a better quiz than usual. I feel like the options were pretty solid.
Yes.
I think that's that. So, with fun and games being done, shall we get into our flick of the week? Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Released in 2019, rated R, at an hour and 45-minute runtime. Jay and Silent Bob returned to Hollywood to stop reboot of the Blunt Man and Chronic movie from getting made. I am so glad that we're finally here. I have now seen this movie about 5 times. Realistically in full, probably 3 or 4. And then like in the background 1 or 2 times. It's just been on. I genuinely enjoy this movie like a lot. So why don't we kick off with our tweet length reviews, if you will?
Okay. A fun, funny, nostalgic look back at the View Askewniverse so many years later. Fan service incarnate in the best possible way.
Nice. That's actually pretty close to what I have. So I have Kevin Smith returns to his true form for a trip down nostalgia lane in this feel-good manifestation of friendships forged over the past 30 years. 8 out of 10.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
That's fair. It means a little bit more, I feel like, to me. It's more my wheelhouse.
It does. The thing is, I enjoy the movies, but, like, very specifically, like, I love Mallrats. I like Clerks 2. I really enjoyed Dogma, although I only saw it the one time, and, like, I saw a bit of it another time. I tried coming back to it and watching. I just can't get over Chasing Amy. Honestly, I don't remember the first Clerks that well because I watched it late at night, and I think I might have
dozed.
I don't think I actually dozed, but I was getting really close, so like you just don't retain it. But I saw Jay and Silent. My brother loves Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I think that and Mallrats are the only ones he's even seen.
That's so funny to me because I feel like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is lower on the list for me than any of the other ones.
Yeah, it's not as good as the other ones, and it's also like the most inside of all of them. Like to kind of have a full appreciation of that movie, you have to have seen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which like he hasn't seen like any of the.
That's so funny.
Any of Dogma, like any of Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
But he loves Jay and Silent Bob.
And like I feel like he would like this one too, but it would be more because it was like a rehashing of the things that he found funny in the other one rather than what they're based on.
Yeah, you're right. He probably would like this one. But even this one like had like two really big important specific sequences, one early on with Brody.
Oh, so good.
One later on with Holden where it's like really deep into the nitty gritty of those
in the
movies.
best way. Oh god, so good. We'll get into that stuff, like obviously, but before we do that, a couple of things here. First off, I saw this movie during the roadshow. This movie had an interesting release pattern, so they didn't actually wide release the movie in theaters. What they did was they took it on the reboot roadshow, where you bought a ticket. You got to go see the movie, and Kevin Smith did one of his Q&As afterwards, spoke a little bit before the movie. They did a lot of these. I didn't realize how many they did. And I think they're actually still going. The last one is going to be at... They're going to finish it up at the new Smod Castle, which is actually going to be in Leonardo, New Jersey, by the attached to where the old Quick Stop was. Where it is. It's still... the Quick Stop's there. It's going to be the building next to it's vacant. They're taking over that. But anyway, that's where the last one's supposed to be. I believe it's sometime in April. But... I think it's actually a pretty cool concept. They realized, and we talked about this a little bit last week, about like, what does it cost to distribute a movie? They took this approach of, we're going to sell you a little bit of a premium price ticket, but you're going to get like a night out of it. You go to this thing, it's a long night, you get to, it's usually in a pretty cool theater. For when Kim and I went, we went to the Count Basie, so like, you can get some beers and you get some snacks and stuff, and you hang out, you have a really good time. Everybody's there because they're fans. Like it's a really good vibe all around. It was pretty cool. I liked that approach. I was looking forward to seeing it again in theaters, and then realized that wasn't going to happen, which was a little bit of a bummer, but not so much because I got to see it, released with people that I knew would enjoy it. That being said, when it released on Blu-ray, I was like, oh, it's out like already, like great. And then I got to watch it a bunch of more times, and every time I watch the movie, I enjoy it a little bit more. There are countless references and callbacks, and each time I watch it, I spot another one, and it just makes me giddy because this is really just him having his fun, I feel like, and it's just in the best way. He's like, it's very self-aware of how ridiculous it's being, in that it breaks the fourth wall numerous times to sometimes flip you off as the audience, which I thought was clever, but.
Well, specifically that conversation with Brody, in which they were explaining what the
just amazing.
Was literally a middle
Absolutely.
finger.
Well, and so much so that Jay does flip off the audience when they break the wall and they look at you, which is just great. Kevin does his like shrug smile. Brody does a little shrug and a laugh, and Jay Muse is just flipping off the camera, which is just beautiful. But
It's funny because it was both flipping off Hollywood and also
Absolutely.
us at the same time.
Absolutely. It's just, it really is, it's just a good time. If you like Kevin Smith, if you like any of the stuff that he's done, like, there's no reason you wouldn't enjoy this.
My mileage with him varies some, obviously, as I just detailed. I never saw Jersey Girl, which it's funny the digs at that one.
Ruined my career.
I never saw Yoga Hosers or Tusk. The Tusk joke was funny. They mentioned Yoga Hosers as well. I never saw Jersey Girl. The funny thing to me, and I guess this is technically pre-spoilers, not too much of a spoiler, did not expect this movie to grandfather in Zack and Miri as a View Askewniverse movie, because Brandon St. Randy is in the movie, and I was not expecting that.
Such a good
he
character.
Was great as always. I don't even really like Justin Long, but he's great as that character. No, I mean, like, I don't dislike him. He annoys me in some roles. I don't mind him in other roles. But he's hilarious.
He's
as
so
Brandon
good.
St. Randy. And I loved how he was, even though he was in that scene, and
Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson's in that scene too, but he's not playing the same character from Zack and Miri. His name was perfect. Judge Jerry N. Executioner.
The Honorable Jerry N. Executioner.
Yeah. I don't understand why Joe Manganiello was the bailiff. I don't understand why Frankie Shaw is the prosecutor. They're both just there.
I think they're friends and fans, is from what I understand.
Were they? Because they weren't. Neither of them was in any of the
I don't
other
think
movies.
so. I know
Frankie Shaw to me will always be Sammy's sister from Blue Mountain State, even though I've seen her in other things. She was in actually most of the first season of Mr. Robot with a fairly important role. I don't know why I had no idea she was in it. Joe Manganiello is just kind of exists weirdly in the world.
He's into D&D from what I understand, and there's an episode of Big Bang Theory where a bunch of these people get together and are playing Dungeons and Dragons. And him and Kevin Smith are both in that episode at Will Wheaton's house playing D&D, and I don't know if there's like a bond that was forged somewhere in that situation, but it seems like it's like right in line with everything else going on with this movie.
Okay.
It's just really funny. There's a lot of nods and jokes throughout the movie of like making the movie and like guilting people into being in it by having a heart attack. Like it was just very silly. It's very funny.
Also the cop-out thing. I forgot about the
cop-out thing was great. The fact that Kevin Smith is also in the movie is very good. And more than that.
And that Silent Bob then pretends to be Kevin Smith and his daughter is bossing him around.
So good. So, overall, like, there's these characters have, like, they all are clearly having a laugh on screen, which is, like, from the things that I've heard from, like, interviews and stuff like that, being directed by him is just a good time. It's just, like, let's have fun making...
That's good, because I actually got the impression there was a little bit of... And this isn't, like, any knowledge of behind-the-scenes stuff, just watching the screen. You're right, I agree. Everyone who had come back from other roles seemed like they're having some fun. I actually didn't 100% get that impression in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah, neither do I.
Right? There's a couple of them...
They seem a little tired of it.
They're exasperated, right?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely. But this time around, everybody seems to be in on the joke and really, like, laying into it and just eating up the scene when they're in it, just having a lot of fun. And it really just... It makes it so much... It's just so much... Like, so entertaining to watch. It's just really fun.
You know what? It's a stupid thing to enjoy. I like that Jason Biggs and James Vanderbeek were in this again as themselves.
Yeah. And that he calls him pie fucker. And everybody in the audience goes,
that was
that
good.
Being said, we're going to get deep into spoilers because a lot of this episode is probably just going to be rehashing just these really fun scenes that make it just, it's just like, this is my movie. This movie was made for me. I really enjoy it.
It's good because my concentration level is not great right now because I'm currently watching Nick Wallenda walk over an active volcano.
What? All right, so
one of the flying Wallendas, he's walking a high wire above an active volcano.
Naturally.
It's
with that being said, we're going to dive into our post-spoiler territory. If you are even remotely a fan of Kevin Smith, go see the movie. rent it, buy it, whatever. I don't care. See the movie, then come back and enjoy this piece of it, and you can basically relive the movie with us here, because that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through all these fun, ridiculous scenes. Starting off with, the movie opens ridiculously. They're outside of the quick stop and cocksmoker, which which is just such a dumb joke.
Coming soon, spelled,
and the idea of having Jay run out with the pot plants, and the cop saying, "Drop the plants," and him pulling his pants down, was just so, I feel like they just wanted some way to get that scene back in the movie of him doing the Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, they just needed a way to gratuitously reference that and have someone call him Buffalo Bill.
Captain, he has no dick. The guy behind freaking out.
No, it's just tucked behind him.
So that starts to it's just throws
also,
what a
random place. I was saying, what a random place for David Nussmausch to pop up too, as a SWAT member with 4 lines.
Yep, absolutely ridiculous. One guy eating popcorn, watching this all go down.
Yeah.
Also, Dante immediately ready to give up Randall. Getting arrested at the beginning. It's so silly.
Actually, it was a shame how little he was in it. All told, and Randall wasn't in it at all.
No,
are they not on good terms?
I have no
idea.
Again? But
because for a while they weren't on speaking terms, and then they were again. And it's weird that Randall wasn't in it at all, and that Brian O'Halloran was in that for 3 seconds, and then played himself in a panel, but had 0 lines.
Oh, he's in the movie 4 times. He is in the beginning. He is in that panel at Clerks, the Clerks panel, which was a great scene where they're in black and white, and then Jay,
the black and white,
really silly,
good. And they both scream, "No!"
And then he also plays what's his name? When he's on the news, he has a different name.
Oh, you're right.
Gil Hicks.
On the news. Gil was from
I know,
Mars.
but I feel like it's the same name when he's the news anchor. He's been the news anchor a couple times. Yeah, but anyway, so
I'm just saying that was that
he's
character.
in that scene, and then he's also in the final scene with there's gum in the lockers, which is just amazing. Oh, by the way, for the past 25 years, Silent Bob and I have been coming here every night and jamming gum in the locks. Just going back to that at the quick stop.
Oh my god. I just realized I didn't watch the last 5
Oh
minutes.
no! Really? Did you get?
What happened was I was trying to finish it before eating dinner last night, and there, I clicked it, and there was 9.5 minutes left on the player.
Oh no!
And I was like, oh, I'll just finish watching it later, and then I totally forgot, and I'm just realizing now I didn't watch. I watched several minutes of them, the 3 of them, outside the quick stop when they bring Millennium Falcon to the quick stop.
Oh man, so you didn't see any of the post-credit scenes?
No, I just realized right now I completely forgot to turn it back on and watch the last 5 minutes.
Well, let me clue you in on a few. The very last one is that's what Jay says. He's like, oh yeah. So Dante comes up to open the locks, and he looks at the lock and he can't open it. He throws his hands up, and Jay goes, for the past 25 years, Silent Bob and I have been coming here every night and jamming gum in the locks, which is just beautiful. Just to own up to that. That's awesome. 2, there's a scene with Stan Lee where he was intended to be in the movie. Kevin Smith wanted him in the movie, and he's interviewing him, and he tells him about it, and he's all excited. He's like, let's run a few lines, and Stanley is just giddy in the scenes, and he can't get the lines out, and he keeps cracking himself up, and he finally gets the line out, and Kevin Smith doesn't respond, and he goes, you're not gonna respond? And he goes, Silent Bob. He goes, well, they get Jay in here. It's really great. And then probably my favorite post-credit scene was another Ben Affleck scene where he's talking to Jay, and he goes, yo, but Affleck was the bomb in Batman, though. Which is just perfect. Oh, man. They all seem to be having a blast. So they get arrested. We get into the courtroom. That's where we meet judge, jury, and executioner. Yeah. Justin Long, man, playing that character. He again, also having so much fun. But he does some of the most ridiculous facial expressions and full body acting
Yeah, he's a weirdly physical actor in that role.
When he goes, he holds hands on the 2 contracts, and Bob is like, we should, pointing to Jay to read them, and Jay's like, just sign it. And they cut over as they're leaning down to sign it, and his face is like, what? That was easy.
Well, yeah, he's like, whoa. And then he literally says, I didn't think it would be that easy.
And then after their trial is over, and they gets very stiff, and then he walks around the tables to the other side. So he's so good. It really cracks me up. He's just so funny. Justin Long really, I find him to be hilarious. I always think back of him being at this super geeky kid in Galaxy Quest, which is always fun.
But see, I don't know, he's annoying in that.
Yeah, he is annoying in that role. He is not annoying in
he's
Waiting.
He's supposed to be.
In Waiting, he's borderline, not Waiting, Accepted. He's not annoying in Waiting either. I feel like in Accepted, he's borderline Ryan Reynolds.
He's doing a bad Ryan.
Oh, you think so? I always found it funny.
The movie is fine, but I wouldn't say that I particularly enjoyed him in the movie. You're right. I wasn't thinking about Waiting. He's good in Waiting.
I'm eating a wad, man. I'm eating a wad, man.
I don't know. I thought you're just supposed to laugh at him in Dodgeball. He kind of annoyed me. So it's when he gets rocked in the nuts with a dodgeball. I'm just laughing at his misfortune.
Right. Not at him as much. Back to the courtroom. One of probably the best lines. Craig Robinson is just tremendous at delivering any line that is given to him. He is so funny.
Yes.
One of my favorites in this one in particular were when that movie sucked balls, and then the bailiff goes, and asshole, and Justin Long's character goes, he goes, objection. No, I'll allow it. That movie did suck balls and asshole.
Yes.
Oh, man. So they lose their names. They're not allowed to use those anymore. They go to
which they then use them a lot. I expected them to come up with ridiculous alter egos, which, I guess they kind of did at one point or other, but, they didn't really stick to them.
Don Juan Delanucci.
They were...
And Roberto Silencio.
Oh, yeah. Roberto Silencio, which is actually great. Those names sound really made up. Fine, our names are Jay and Silent Bob. Somehow those sound even more made up than the other names.
Oh, when they're trying to get the plane tickets, this particular shtick really cracked me up, and every time it cracks me up when she goes, "There's a weight problem," and his eyes get really wide, and he gets so mad.
The best part, though, was they're doing that stupid joke that they did in one of the Austin Powers, where she's like, "There's a weight problem." No. Wait.
Yeah.
Problem. And then she goes, "Why don't you just ride me?"
Ride me now.
Right now? Yeah. Open up your rideshare app. Ride me. Oh,
man.
It reminded me of the one where they're in Japan and Austin's talking to the Japanese guy. And the subtitles keep coming up, but the subtitles are cut off, and you think he's saying something dirty, and then someone moves something, and the subtitle is no longer cut off, and it's a completely innocent sentence.
Yep. Oh, man, that's so silly.
Here, please eat some shit. What? He said, please eat some shiitake mushrooms.
When they finally get the rideshare app, and they need to put the credit card in, and we get the Ralph Garman scene, which really, I think he's really funny, so having him in that scene was great. And it also, again, this one is just it's just very well executed comedy where each beat makes me laugh a little bit harder than the last one when he's reading the credit card number, and it's 5, click, 1, click.
Well, it was specifically, okay, now let me read out loud to you in a public place my credit card information. And you just see the face that the two of them make as he whips out the phone.
No.
And dramatically puts his finger up as he keeps dramatically picking up the phone. In this
Not
movie.
Ed. Ted.
Ted Underhill. And then you start giving social security number or date of birth or something like that.
Oh god, it's so stupid. It really is. It's really silly. But before that scene, they got their little recap of they got their introduction to reboots and remakes, which was just really that we mentioned that earlier in the show, but that was so well done. That explanation of the remake versus the reboot was really good, versus the sequel, really good. And just I love how they're getting all out of hand. So when he gives the example of blowing up a space station while thwarting a man in a black mask, and it's like, no, The Force Awakens. That's a reboot. And then it goes through the whole thing. What I loved is when they go, when Jay says something about the Marvel movies, and he goes, hey, man.
Yeah, he freaked out. Those are Marvel a cinematic masterpiece. Like,
it's so good. You gotta watch out for the Mallrats. I don't see any kids around here. No, the actual Mallrats.
I think he throws something in your squeak.
So good. I love the character of Brody. Also, he's the one probably the most that's super into the character of like using the lines, the snoogans, the nooch, and then like really just having fun with it.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't say that Ben Affleck super seemed like Holden in this movie. But yeah, Jason Lee was definitely
Brody.
Grown up Brody.
Yeah, absolutely. So good.
I was he can be annoying sometimes with the over the top delivery, but the scene in Mallrats when they're in the elevator
Passionate,
and they end up having sex. No, before that. Diminished libido.
He's so good. I love those. These movies are so much fun. So we get we already talked about the fourth wall break earlier that they have, which was just really, really silly. Oh, you know what the other one was? Hollywood doesn't even make squeakquels, yo. And they both giggle.
Yes.
Again, they're making jokes about things that are not even there. Like, well, it's his, but like not even in the View Askewniverse. It's just really, I really love that.
There was a lot of between the Batman stuff with Ben Affleck,
Batman stuff is so good.
The squeakquel thing, the like the stupid like cop out, like specifically Kevin Smith shit, cop out and Jersey Girl stuff.
I liked good. I like when we went to after the comic book shop in the mall. They go to get their plane tickets. We get the fuck you money in the bag that says fuck you money, which is just really great. But probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie is what follows next, which is the Loki scene.
Which was, I think I might have had my phone up for a second while that was up because I didn't get the transition into it, and I was like, oh, he's just
it's just a quick narration
Loki?
of what's happening next in the movie.
Yeah, and then he literally narrates like the next scene during the transition. I was like, that was so random and immersion breaking. Like that's like it's kind of funny, but honestly, like that's not super great like fan service.
Oh, I thought it was because he plays Loki so well. He plays back that Loki character that he had in Dogma so perfectly.
Yes, but like stopping to meet Brody, stopping to meet Holden, like was organic. You know what I mean? Also, I have to say I was a little disappointed. I didn't check to see the status of the actor or whatever, but when they run into the security guard and the way they pan up over the back of him, and as much as I love Diedrich Bader,
security dick.
Security dick. I expected it to be the guy from Mallrats.
Oh, LaForce?
Yeah, LaForce. I was disappointed that he wasn't in it. I was like, that would have been
good.
A stupid, random, but like perfect for that.
Well, no, for that it makes sense because he was that same character in Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah.
Diedrich Bader was?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Playing
It's been
the
a
same
long time
character.
since I've seen that one. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
That's funny. But LaForce would have been
quietly with no lines would have been great. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
absolutely. But I loved the Matt Damon stuff. The whole what is it? My reborn identity. Boom! Pun game.
No,
oh
some
boy,
of the
you just got
stupid
touched
lines.
by an angel, son.
Yeah, he had some funny lines. It was just. It wasn't nearly as seamless as the other ones were.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was definitely a little bit of a rough transition, but I thought it was very funny. We get them, then we meet Fred Armisen, the Ride Me Now driver, with just this ridiculous like. It makes me wonder, like, was this piece of it improv? The whole somebody recently shit in the backseat, like that whole thing didn't feel scripted. And he is known for like that improv style, so it's very possible that he was coming up with like. I wonder if they took a few takes and he just like came up with things to say.
A lot of Portlandia was definitely riffing. Like I know some of it was scripted, but a lot of it was riffing So, obviously he's good at that sort of
Why
stuff.
do you have tater tots? Where did these come from? Well, I'm an entrepreneur. The whole thing he goes into about why he came up with this idea. They love tater tots, right? Wrong. Tater tots means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and it attracts groups of people that I never wanted. Specifically, white nationalists. His delivery was really ridiculous. One of Fred Armisen's best scenes in the movie is when he's standing there with the joint in the background outside of the Movies restaurant, and the cops are coming after him, and he just starts running away. It's so funny.
And he's just like pounding on the window.
Oh man, God! They did the whole. They recapped like yelling at the kids online through the Ride Me Now rating system, which was just well done. I can't remember her name. Is it Kate Micucci? I can't remember her name. But the girl that's at the counter at the Movies restaurant. Welcome to Movies. Can I take?
Oh, yeah.
Are you in the mood for anything? She cracks me up too.
Yeah, she's been in she's done some stuff for Funny or Die. I actually saw recently she did some song with someone else. I forget who. It was ridiculous. I think it was from a few years ago. She's done commercials, but the thing I know her from was she was in the final season or two of Scrubs.
Okay.
And she plays a ridiculous character, and she was funny in that. She's super weird. She ends up marrying the janitor. Yeah, awesome. She married no. Sorry, not the janitor. She ends up with Ted the lawyer. Okay. That's who it was. Which is super random.
So we get her character was funny. The whole Silent Bob showing her the eggplant on the phone. No, old man, you did funny. Not just eggplant me.
He's trying to give me that old man dick.
Then there's obviously the forced line from his wife of I just ate some vegan, which was very dumb but pretty on brand for Kevin Smith. Leaving there, Jay seeing Boo Boo Kitty Fuck on the on the news was also.
I completely forgot.
I was wondering how they were going to tie her into it, and then the whole thing with the kid was really funny. When we go to her house,
also of all the ways for Rosario Dawson to show
so
up,
good.
I expected her to show up alongside Halloran, and instead she's playing an entirely different character.
Is it Reggie Falcon? Is that
which when they said her name is Millennium Falcon, I was like, what and or how? And it's okay, you found a gratuitous way to name her Millennium Falcon, in which her mother has almost normal name in her last name.
The pure delight on Silent Bob's face when he hears the name is perfect. But they get to that house, and it was funny to do this whole thing where Jay has a kid and they do this, and actually the whole father daughter that whole storyline is actually very sweet throughout the movie. It's silly, but it's sweet.
It was surprisingly well done. Yeah, it was ridiculous, but it works.
But having Kevin Smith's daughter play Jay's daughter was actually very fun to have them opposite each other, and then all of the jokes about how he always puts his kids in the movie. How Kevin Smith...
Yeah, that was funny. Oh, I hate Kevin Smith. He always forces his daughter to be in all these different things.
So silly. But Jay and Harley Quinn ended up having they had some pretty decent chemistry as father-daughter characters. A fun fact, I don't know if you'd realize this, but Amy, Ben Affleck's daughter in the movie, is Jason Mewes' kid. Actual.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool too that they did that. But they go on the whole mission to Hollywood, Operation Predator Editor, which was ridiculous. With the Cannonball Run guy, was just absolutely too much. One of my favorite scenes in the movie came when they were drugged with the edible chocolate and wake up and Method and Red are driving the car. How are you going to talk about being a father when you slinging cum all over the place?
Oh my god.
It's unseemly.
It's unseemly.
That was just a great shtick. Also, the whole DVD red box, Netflix and chill, Hulu and hump thing was really
Yes, yeah. And they called back the Hulu and hump thing again later.
Hulu and hump day.
Yeah.
God, it's so stupid.
The whole thing with the blueprints and plans was funny because that's what they did in Mallrats. But in this case, how well they were actually planned out as opposed to all the ones that fucked up horrendously in Mallrats. These were all super perfect to the point where, like, when he attacks the pedophile, the final step, which she wouldn't show him, was he gets mad and attacks the pedophile.
So good. I also love when they meet the rest of that crew, and it's just like it's too much at first, but then it becomes funny when Jay's like, "Oh, terrorist," and the girl's like, "Where's terrorist? Where's terrorist?" And Millennium comes in and she slaps him, and she's like, "She's not a terrorist. Her name is Jihad, though." And
Do with that what you will.
They do it. They really did a good job here. So we finally get to Hollywood. Hologram Chris Hemsworth, just tremendous.
That was funny.
Please don't hump the hologram. Please don't fillet the hologram. Burn your mouth open. There's actually a deleted
Please don't
scene.
take pictures with the hologram acting like we're having a conversation.
There's another deleted scene where he's doing that too, where he's like pretending to not like actually want to be in the movie. Like, I've got too many franchises anyway. Like, I didn't want to be part of this. It's like, and he does like, if you're completing your father-daughter story arc, go right. If you're trying to stop the movie from being made, go left. Really good stuff.
Now, I don't remember, because it seems like he dies off and then he doesn't, obviously. Will Ferrell was still alive at the end of Jay and Silent Bob, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I was kind of hoping
surprised that he wasn't in it,
even for a second.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's true. I didn't even think about that. That's the thing. There's so many people.
Well, I was really surprised that they got Joey Lauren Adams to come back. I know she was in Jay and Silent Bob, but I don't know. It was just really surprising to see, especially they were like a borderline throuple with Holden and actually, what was her name? I don't even remember what her name was in the. I always want to call her Amy, but obviously she's Alyssa Jones. Yeah.
Finger cuffs
and her wife or whatever. Finger. Oh, we actually wanted to call that. Netflix needed an edgier title, and that was.
So we get when they're running through the convention, and they got like all these different. They're running into the different scenes. These are just like one-off sketches. I feel like that they wanted to put together, which was ended up being really fun. Oh, there's another after-credit scene that you missed. Was Robert Kirkman doing a panel for The Walking Dead, and a woman stands up and asks a question and goes, "What happens to Daryl?" And he goes, "Oh, Carol eats Daryl." And the woman goes, "Oh my God, Carol becomes a zombie?" And he goes, "No. She just eats Daryl." And Jay and Silent Bob come from behind him, and they both give him a purple nurple, and they go, "That's for killing Carl." This is really dumb, but it's fun.
The comic book men were in it, like
about them being canceled. That was very silly. In the scene where Jason Biggs and James Vanderbeek are there, and I think Q's asking the question from Impractical Jokers. That when they're in that scene, and Jay and Silent Bob go behind those couple of people in the audience, that's Kevin Smith's mom, dressed as Silent Bob, which is really silly. And
I did think it was funny when they first came in, and Millennium was like, "Why is everyone here dressed like?" Or why are you dressed like them? Like, they're just like us. And the actual costumes are there, and the girls all buy them.
Yep. Oh, so silly. Then we get obviously I think one of, because, well, you know, I love Chasing Amy, obviously. When they go into the room and you don't see him yet, and he says, "Look at these morose motherfuckers right here." I lost it the first time that I saw it, and I got very excited that we were going to do that. And it's just like, that scene with him is just so perfect. It's just so well done, and it's just like a big group hug. There's also a hug involved, but the whole scene is a big group hug, and it's really sweet. And then the line that you opened the show with today, which was the most tremendous one of, like, you realize, you know, you're not Batman anymore when you have a kid, you're Thomas Wayne, or his mom, and then that was another, I don't know if you realize, he looks directly at the camera for that one too, and he goes, "Whose name escapes me for some reason." So good.
That was actually the most egregious of them, I think, because he's just sitting there like staring dead at the. Oh, because honestly, they could have just left it at, "You don't get to be Batman anymore." And I was like, "Oh, that's funny." And it's like, "I'm Thomas Wayne," or Bruce Wayne's mom, whose name is escaping me. And I was like, you know what? You went full Family Guy of how deep into this joke can we go before you finally tell
right.
it out. Okay.
And what does he say? So I spend my days chasing Amy, and like you could see Kevin Smith like choking up over the thing that he's written in that scene, which I think is just really sweet. And then another set of forced lines that are still really funny is when they all leave, and he's talking to Amy, his daughter, and he goes, "They're gone, girl. They're out on the town.
On that one.
It's just us. We're the Just Us League. Why are you looking at me like that?" You're like, go fuck yourself. Really, all of it every joke written in this movie just tickles me. It's so good. It's so entertaining. But then we get our whole fighting finale sequence at the actual Invasion of Comic-Con scene. That was very silly too. We got Iron Bob.
Oh my god, it's Iron Bob! Wow, Marvel is gonna see.
Yeah, I like when Jay runs up and he goes, "I was just trying to stall long enough to get in range of that big gun. Throw it to me!" And it's just a prop. Why is this fake? Why would it be real?
He goes, "Why did you think it was real?"
And then Melissa Benoist playing. She was Blunt Man, right? No, was she Blunt? She was Chronic.
Yes.
I don't remember. But let me be blunt.
Oh, Chronic, because Blunt Man
Val
was
Kilmer.
Batman or whatever. Val Kilmer looks
terrible. And
he looked like an old, because he had the long hair. He looked like an old Russian grandma.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Chong as Alfred. Yeah,
that was funny.
that whole thing is so silly. Oh, you wanted to vape? Oh. I thought you wanted to verse. And then Jay's like, "This is the greatest movie I've ever seen."
I was so disappointed because at first I was like, "There's no way they're gonna do it," and then Cockknocker's fist comes to the wall. I was like, "Please tell me Mark Hamill came back for one single second of this movie," and they cut away because that's the end of the scene. I was like, "No!"
Yeah.
And then they had the army of Cockknockers. I forgot what the Cockknocker Commandos. Was that what it was?
It's so ridiculous.
I have to tell Dominic about that. Dominic always enjoyed the character of Cockknocker.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Just
the whole introduction with Mark Hamill. Why do they call you Cockknocker? You see, it's a funny story. He uppercuts.
Oh man, I also like how he narrates the fade out during the fight sequence into the end of the movie. Kevin Smith Kevin Smith narrates.
He's like, what? Okay, you have the emotion. You're gonna have the emotional moment, but we need a transition.
Do a little fade out. All the characters and all the storylines are pretty much wrapped up at this point. And then we get to the finale in front of the quick stop, which is just really sweet. Another sweet conversation between Jay and his daughter Millennium.
Well, that's the part that really choked up Kevin Smith, because I think it was not just the doing of the movie and all that. It's his best friend and his daughter hanging out and
in the
all
spot.
the problems Jay's had. in real life, for him to be back in the fold and back on the wagon and all that stuff, I think.
Yeah, it really is a tremendous story. Like the whole thing, it's insane.
Plus Kevin Smith's own, the reasons any of the three of them might not have been there, for that scene, and for all three of them to be there together, I think that was really emotional.
Yeah, you could see him trying to hold back hard, but it was sweet. And I know he talks a lot, right? And if you've ever seen any of his stand-ups, like he can go on and on and on and on, but he does seem truly and genuinely grateful for everything that he's got and where he's at. So much so that when we saw the Roadshow, I think it was the second showing. It was the first one in Jersey, but it was the second showing, and it was he walks off after till they present the movie, and he peeked in during the beginning, and then he just stood there and watched the whole movie. It's just, I don't know, it's just sweet to see him so enthusiastic about the stuff that he does, and that I don't know, the zest for life and movies that he has is just it's infectious. I really enjoyed this movie.
No, it was solid. I honestly had pretty low expectations, and somehow it's actually probably a better made movie than Jay and Silent Bob itself was.
I think so.
It's what that one had probably some of the actually even just the going back to when they were trying to fly on Southwest Airlines, where they find out weight problem. Turns out you guys are affiliated with a terrorist organization. The Clip?
The Clip doesn't exist.
The Clip's not real. Yeah, too many men believe that.
Oh, we forgot about two tremendous jokes. One was the reoccurring Kevin James joke, which was just
Kevin
beautiful.
Can wait.
Yeah. We have to stop those. We got to stop those fuckers at Sbarro Films. Also solid.
Yeah.
And the entire Glengarry Glen Ross scene cracks me up. When they're at the Klan meeting, and Kevin Smith takes off the hood,
always be
ducking. Everything except for that final line, I think, is actually really funny because it's the scene, almost the blocking seems to be accurate also, which is what's really funny. Put that pitchfork down. Pitchforks are for Klansmen. I'm from Mitch and Murray. Who the fuck are Mitch and Murray? Oh God, it just makes me, after watching it, I was just again and again, I just want to watch all of his movies. I just want them all on loop all the time. I just find them to be so funny. But
even Jersey Girl?
Even I'll watch Jersey Girl here and there. Yeah.
Really?
It's got good parts. It's got George Carlin.
Does it? You know what? Fair enough.
And the whole thing about he's got a not so great heart, but he doesn't clean his cast iron pan that he makes his bacon in because of the juice. He keeps the juice in it. And it's not. And Ben Affleck's it's not juice. It's bacon fat. But that's it's not. That's obviously not the best, but it's fine. It's fine by me. Do you have any other notes on this movie?
No notes on this movie, but there's one thing I forgot to mention during News, Notes, and Nuggets that's basically going to be post-credits for us. And pursuant to the conversation I had with my cousin Mike right before we got on, we've been talking about expansions of the Spin Tune, both on the show and you and I and Brian behind the scenes, which hopefully we'll be able to share more of in the near future. But there's another avenue which we're going to be extending into, and I say extending into on purpose because the Spin Tune umbrella will be producing porn now.
I'm sorry?
What?
No.
No, that's it. Disagree.
No?
See, Mike didn't have a way to be part of the Spin Tune because he doesn't really want to be a regular on the show.
Sure.
But he's going to help me co-produce high-quality pornographic material with celebrities.
I don't understand what is happening right now.
Yeah, you don't have to. I actually, it's better that you
And
don't.
that's when the Spin Tune came to a screeching halt. Well, That's all for this week's episode of Flix and a Six. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have a movie for us to review or nuggets for us to discuss, you can send those requests to flixandasix@spintune.com or tweet us at thespintune with the hashtag FLI6. Tune in next week for more movie and beer goodness. Until then, I'm Anthony Costanzo.
And I'm sorry for what I just did before this.
Thanks for coming out.